Hello, Facebook, and welcome to Arizona. I'm Troy Hayden.
I'm Samia Khan, and we are bringing you our Election Day coverage right here on Facebook Live. This is so exciting, Troy.
Yeah, you know, we're very honored that we got picked to represent Arizona, and we have a lot to talk about, actually, if you think about it.
So much to talk about.
I mean, the race for president is probably closer than it has been here in 20 years. It's possible a very red state goes blue.
Possibly.
You know, the polls aren't showing that it's exactly going to go that way, but it is possible. We've got Prop 205, whether or not we're going to legalize recreational marijuana, one of 5 states. That could be extremely close here, right? Back and forth. And then also, we have a sheriff who's not just a county sheriff. I mean, a lot of people feel that he's America's sheriff, and he could be out of a job or leading that way towards tonight, if you believe the poll. Sheriff Joe Arpaio for re-election tonight, facing a very tough bid as well. And so as we're talking about all these things, we have live reports out in the field, but we also want to hear from you.
Exactly. This is an interactive stream. So guys, tuning in on Facebook, leave your comments, leave your questions, your thoughts on the topics we're discussing. We're actually going to read some viewer comments live here on air.
Right? Because we're inclusive.
We are.
You know, we want to bring you into this whole process. But let's begin with that race with Sheriff Joe Arpaio we talked to you about. There was actually a protest today where a whole bunch of students here in Phoenix walked out of class trying to make sure that Joe Arpaio leaves office. And our Andrew Hasman is out in the field now. He saw this. Andrew, what's going on, bud?
Well, Troy, you mentioned that Sheriff Joe Arpaio is not a typical sheriff, and that is frankly the truth. He is not a typical sheriff. He was an early endorser of Donald Trump and joined Donald Trump on the campaign trail. He is a big name in the Republican Party, and his endorsement is sought after across the country. And because of that involvement with Donald Trump and all of some of the other controversies the sheriff's been involved in, hundreds of students walked out of class today here in Phoenix to urge voters to vote against Sheriff Joe Arpaio and support his Democratic opponent, former Phoenix Police Sergeant Paul Babu. They lined the streets here, hundreds of them. They came from Maryville High School, which is right near this polling place at 51st Avenue in Osborne. They also came from some other high schools in the area. They organized this on social media. Some came after school, some walked out of class, and they came here chanting for people to not vote for Sheriff Joe Arpaio and instead vote for his opponent.
It's all happened because we all wanted that. We all want people to have their families together, no more separations.
His racism, we just don't need that here, especially with Donald Trump running for president.
What do you think is going to happen today?
I know we're going to win. We're going to win this election.
Well, it has been a tough fight and a very expensive one. Sheriff Joe Arpaio has the money on his side. He raised some $12.5 million for this campaign throughout the whole process, and he spent almost all of it. Paul Penzone barely raised a fraction of that. He raised about $1 million and spent almost all of it as well. But Paul Penzone got some significant help by an outside group, a PAC, that has been linked to Democratic billionaire George Soros. He spent $2.3 million funding that PAC and another about 800 grand from other people involved in that PAC to support Paul Penzone and urge people to vote against Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He has been in office for more than 20 years. This would be his 7th term, and we'll see what happens when the polls close at 7 o'clock tonight in Arizona. Back to you guys.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. So again, yeah, we have a lot of money coming in from outside the state, George Soros and other groups trying to get Sheriff Joe Arpaio out of office, and we'll see what happens.
And I do want to check in with our viewers that are tuning in on Facebook. I want to read a couple comments regarding the sheriff's race. We have this comment from Aaron Mayfield saying, if Joe is out of a job, send him to Mojave County. We need a good sheriff.
Yeah, well.
And meanwhile, Melissa saying, time for a new sheriff in town and Hillary for president. So we have various views.
It's tight. It's a tight race. A lot of people love Joe Arpaio. A lot of people say his time is done. Enough with the court cases, enough with costing everybody money. So again, that's one of the main races we're watching here in Arizona. National headline-wise, you may have saw what happened here back in March. We had our presidential preference election. Remember that? We had those long lines all over the place that made national news. We actually went down to about 60 voting sites total back during that time, that presidential preference election. Well, today, that's totally different. Now there are 724 sites, and that's a good thing because the Secretary of State's office predicting our turnout will be about 80%.
Well, the lines are still long. I mean, I was talking to Mike Page, a fellow Fox 10 News Now host, and he stood in line this morning for 2 hours.
Well, and that's a good thing. People are getting into the process. Christy Siefkin is out for us now, taking a look at a polling place. Christy, what are you seeing there?
Troy and Sami, I've been here at Maryvale Church of the Nazarene a couple times today, including early this morning when the wait time was 3 hours long. Now, thankfully, that wait has diminished. Take a look at the line behind me, extremely short. In fact, you can only see a handful of people coming out the door, where earlier today, that line wrapped all the way around the edge of the building. In fact, we talked to a couple of voters earlier. They said they saw people driving through the parking lot, looking out their car window, seeing that long line and saying, hey, I'm not going to wait around for this long line to shorten up. I'm just going to leave and maybe head off to work or go elsewhere. So the hope is that those voters return, of course, to cast their vote. We did speak earlier to a young woman voting for the very first time here. She was very excited for the opportunity. And we also spoke to a woman who waited in line much longer than she thought that she would have to. Take a listen. How do you feel voting for the very first time?
It's exciting. I hope we do have a change. I want a change. I want something new. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully, it goes good.
Awesome. How long did you wait?
I waited about an hour.
Okay. Did you expect to wait so long?
I did not. I thought it was going to be about 30 minutes. That's what they told me at the door, but it was much longer. People were coming in constantly, and I should have took my early ballot. I should have took my early ballot.
So the last person I spoke to who came out said it took about 15 minutes, but you'll notice somebody has left free pizzas outside of this polling place. So maybe those people who came through earlier today and said, hey, the line is too long, the line is now short. And additionally, we have free food out here. So if the line does get a little bit longer, you'll obviously be able to keep that tummy from rumbling. Reporting live from Maryvale Church of the Nazarene, I'm Christy Siefkin, Fox 10 News.
Winner, pizza dinner.
I kind of wish I voted at that polling place instead.
Nobody said there'd be pizza.
I know.
And I early voted.
So did someone else in the chat room. So I asked the viewers that are tuning in on Facebook to tell me how long they waited in line. Nancy, who lucked out, said there was no wait for her.
Oh, good.
And I know that another viewer, Lori, saying she didn't wait in line. She early voted. And Jesus saying, why don't early voters that vote in the mail get a sticker? Some people just wanted to vote for the sticker.
You know what? I do miss the sticker. You know, when you go here in Arizona, I don't know about where it is where you live, depending on where you're watching. You know, sometimes, you know, you don't get anything. But here in Arizona, you get a nice sticker that says, I voted today. And you can wear that all day long. But when you early vote, yeah, they don't send you the sticker.
I have my I voted early sticker. I need to go grab that. Armando, meanwhile, voted around 11 a.m. saying, no wait for me. The benefits of getting out of work at 11 a.m.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. So let's just show you some video from earlier. And these are some of the lines. I do the morning show here in Arizona, and starting about 6 o'clock, this is a little bit after that because the sun was all the way up, but we saw a lot of people getting to the polls right away. They want to be the first people in there. They want to make sure there was no line. And this was, I think, around 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30 is when we saw these lines. And yeah, they happened quickly, but there are rush hours. At polling places, just like on the freeway, so before work. That's right. And I bet we see this again after work
in
today.
The evening, absolutely. Noel voted in Wickenburg. Wickenburg, the line wasn't long at all, but he did say plenty of people voting in Wickenburg.
Which is a good thing. Matt Rodwald in the East Valley looking at another polling place for us. What are you seeing there, Matt?
Not a whole lot. We didn't see any free food either. Brad, shake the camera if you saw any free food. No, we didn't see any free food. See, because we're paying attention to that sort of thing. But I'll step out of the way so you can see kind of the empty parking lot that we had here at Pilgrim's Rest Baptist Church here at 14th and Jefferson. Just a little more activity picking up in the area, only because there's an attached elementary school and the kids were let out just a couple of minutes ago, so some parents came by, pick up their kids, and maybe a couple of them kind of trickled into the polling place. But so far, really, it's been quiet all day. We talked to the judges inside there. All 4 of them that are in there are veterans. They've seen this before. So 500 voters or so is what they say have come in there. It's been pretty quiet. Maybe a line early, but nothing too extreme. Just a little bit out that door. And once you kind of go in that door, you weave your way in a little bit. So it maybe is able to hold up maybe 12 voters at one time, maybe a dozen polling booths at this location. So it can move you through pretty quickly if there isn't much of a line at all. And really all of them that we've seen has really been just a trickle or a handful of people that have come in here, at least on this side. Now, we have heard of some issues that have kind of popped up a little bit, but very isolated stuff. Amos Evangelical Church up in Phoenix, somebody complained that the both machines at that location were down at the time. And also at Twins Butte Baptist Church over right on the Phoenix-Tempe border there, someone complained that they couldn't find their name and they had to reboot the system. That took 20 minutes in order for that to happen, but everything is smooth sailing right now. So it seems that the early voting has made a lot of the difference because not a whole lot going on here, which is probably good for the process. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, so the headline I got from there, no lines, no pizza. So we're clear
no pizza,
on that.
nothing.
All right.
Hey, you know what? Everyone's spoiled sometimes, right?
You're right, Matt. Thank you very much. You know, you're seeing on the bottom of our screen the returns, and obviously right now we're at 0.
I know.
Because they don't start coming in usually about 8 o'clock Arizona time.
The polls are still open right now.
Yeah, so we're not going to see any of those. But about 8 o'clock Arizona time, and now we're 2 hours behind the East Coast because we don't switch for daylight savings, which is also weird. So we were talking about the early ballots that have been cast, and maybe that's the reason why we're not seeing huge lines today. Well, here's Maricopa County. More than 1 million people cast early ballots. And Maricopa County is Metro Phoenix,
right,
and also Gilbert and Chandler and Mesa and Scottsdale and all those places. So about 50% of all of our voters in Maricopa County cast early ballots. About 433 Republicans, 338,000 Democrats, 277,000 independents. So a lot of people doing what I did. I had that ballot out of my house 2 weeks ago, so it's kind of,
and you know what?
One less thing.
That's the easier thing to do, but like someone mentioned in the chat earlier, you don't get a sticker, when you vote by mail, and there's something about getting a sticker, and especially from the millennial point of view, posting it on social media to show that you voted.
And being there and being around the people and going through the process, you know, it's a neat deal.
Making small talk in lines, did that this morning.
Right, because you know, you end up getting an hour to chat with somebody that you never met before. So 2 big props that we're looking at here in Arizona. One of them is 206, and that's upping the minimum wage to $12 by 2020. And then the other one that's really generating a lot of comments, which if you want to comment, go ahead and please do. Prop 205.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what the viewers think about the legalization of marijuana. The fact that it's possible Arizona might be the next state to legalize this recreationally. It's already legal as far as medical marijuana is concerned.
Right, but now if this passes, in 2 weeks, it'll be legal for you. Basically, once everything is official with the vote, you can possess marijuana, from what I understand. And then coming up early next year, you will be able to purchase the marijuana.
Purchase it, and not only that, you can grow a small amount at your home.
Grow it yourself. So let's take a look at that. Mark Martinez now has talked to people both for and against 205. And Mark, everybody's thinking this is going to be very, very tight, aren't they?
It's just that simple. Prohibition's been a failure. We need to do something else, and let's benefit our schools in the process.
J.P. Holyoke is the chairman of the Campaign to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol, the group behind Proposition 205. He says regulating and taxing recreational marijuana for adults 21 years or older would not only bring in tens of millions of dollars in tax revenue each year, it would also cut down on crime caused by cartels.
So the choice that we really have is, are we going to tax and regulate marijuana, send the money to our schools, or are we going to keep it illegal for the enrichment of criminal drug dealers? That's really our only choice here.
When you look at this particular initiative, dispensary owners have become greedy to the point of trying to use our ballot box as a means of pushing crony capitalism.
Maricopa County Attorney Bill Montgomery opposes the measure and was one of the plaintiffs who sued to keep it off the ballot. He feels it's a money grab by dispensary owners and has long been opposed to legalizing marijuana, even for medical purposes.
The only reason you could say with a straight face that marijuana is less harmful than alcohol today is because we don't see the same level of consequence to our society as we do with alcohol.
To say that it's gone up or that it's higher is a bold-faced lie. And the prohibitionists have done nothing but lie using scare tactics, fear-mongering, and just, frankly, making things up in a desperate attempt to keep voters from approving something that they know is objectively safer than alcohol.
Why would we bet on the future of our youth to throw in $50, $60 million into an education system that youth won't be able to take advantage of because they become addicted to marijuana as a consequence of its greater availability and higher potency? That's cruel.
All right, that was our Mark Martinez reporting. So here's a look at a map. Recreational marijuana is legal in 4 states. Those are the green states, you know, appropriately enough, right? The states in purple, where is on the ballot this year: Arizona, Nevada, California, Maine, Massachusetts. Right now, polls show it's very close in many of those states. And I know it's very, very close here. In fact, I've heard we may not know for a couple of days.
Wow.
They may be counting. So who knows? A lot of talk about Arizona going blue in the presidential side of things for the first time back since 1996 when Bill Clinton ran for re-election. That's the last time we voted for a Democratic presidential candidate.
Who happened to be a Clinton, too.
Right. So about a month ago, it was very tight. In fact, many of the sites had Arizona leaning Clinton, but then Clinton saw that lead evaporate as the Obamacare premiums went up, and that went out, and then the FBI review of her emails, that came out. Both sides, though, spending time campaigning in the final hours of their campaign here in Arizona. Listen.
I know how to do this.
Imagine it is January 20th, 2017. And imagine it is Donald Trump standing in front of the Capitol. Now, you know, this is a thought exercise. Imagine he is taking the oath of office. And then imagine what it will be like to have him in the Oval Office making the decisions that affect your lives and your futures.
The American voter has had it. They've had it. Hillary Clinton wants to double down on Obamacare, making it even more expensive. In fact, much more expensive than it is right now. Vote for Hillary is a vote to surrender our government to public corruption, graft, cronyism that threatens the survival of our Constitution itself.
All right, and I just want to read the results of the most recent poll of Arizona voters. This comes from the NBC Wall Street Journal Marist poll. It showed Trump with a 5-point lead among likely voters. The Clinton campaign is hoping a surge in registrations for Latino voters will actually help her win Arizona, but most projections are predicting that Arizona will likely vote for Trump.
So we are going to be here live on Facebook throughout the day, and this is our News Now set. And if you're not familiar with News Now, we're online a lot of hours of the day, Sami.
All day, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, depending on breaking news.
Right.
And
but it comes to you raw, unedited, uncut. Go to fox10news.com, fox10phoenix.com.
Fox10phoenix.com.
Fox10phoenix.com. Log on there and you can get to News Now and see unfiltered, unedited news throughout the day, every single day.
Right. And when there's breaking news and live events, we also go live on Facebook. So if you're enjoying what you're watching, I encourage you to hit that like button on Facebook because you get a notification every single time we go live.
There you go. Let's go to Mark Martinez now and take a look at what people are saying about the election on our Facebook page. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Troy. Yeah, we've been monitoring what people are telling us out there as they go to the polls. Social media playing a huge role in this election. So we asked people earlier, did you vote today? How was your experience? Did you encounter any problems while you were out there? And let's take a look at what some people are saying. This is from Dennis O'Neill. He says only about a 20-minute wait for check-in and ballot, 5 more for open station. Civic duty completed in 30 minutes total. That was at the Butler precinct in Glendale. And this one from Brandy says, my first time voting, shouldn't be at my age, but at least I did it. So proud of my hubby and I. And this one is from Tiara. She says, got to my polling place in Maricopa just after 6, was in and out in about 40 minutes. It was great seeing people out voting. The wait did not bother me at all. This one's from Lonnie saying, long line in Scottsdale, and someone was handing out cards on who to vote for. I thought that was illegal. A worker told him he could do it if he was 20 feet away from the entrance. And let's take a final look at this message from Deb saying, we mailed ours in 2 weeks ago, so easy peasy and what a relief. Certainly didn't need the stress everyone is going through this morning. Everyone gets a group hug and a pep talk for going through this mess. So a lot of people talking about doing that mail-in ballot, the early ballots, which will certainly save you some time if you want to wait in line. But, you know, Troy and Sami, other people like the experience of getting out there and actually being at the polls and casting their ballot, as long as you don't have to wait 2 or 3 hours to do it like we saw during the presidential preference election back in March. So it looks like things have been okay so far.
I agree. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
So we want to hear from you. Post, tweet, Instagram your thoughts and photos of the election day. Use the hashtag Fox10Phoenix, and who knows, that's tough to get on the air here.
That is correct. We're going to have nonstop election coverage online, on air. We appreciate everyone tuning in for this special Facebook live stream.
Right. And if you're interested in what's going on in Arizona, Fox10Phoenix, hashtag Fox10Phoenix and Fox10Phoenix.com are the places to be where you can catch News Now every single day. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and let's watch these results come in.